And good morning, everybody. It is Monday. What a Monday. What a weekend. It was fabulous. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, and you know we talk a lot of politics on this, so you know that weekend was something. My ears are exhausted. My eyeballs are about to fall out of my head because of everything that went on. And they released this Friday, and it was after the show found out that all this came down. And I was sitting there watching the show, and all of a sudden I hear they have reopened the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. And you know, I could just tell my spirits lifted because I thought, okay, now maybe justice will be done. And then to hear all this wah-wah, all the changing it around, spin, and all that happened to it. Now, Comey came out and said this, and because he had sent a letter to Congress, and so this came out immediately. And everybody that was praising his name from the Democrat side just a couple of weeks ago, it seems like, they loved him. This guy was the greatest guy of all times because he didn't indict Hillary, is now the big bad wolf. And he's come in and he has just eaten up and gobbled up all of the energy that the Democrats had at a certain point. But they're blaming him. I mean, they have shot the messenger for sure. He's under so much pressure from the internal workings of the FBI because they were all upset because of what the way that he handled the Hillary Clinton thing. And I think that because we were in the beginnings of the election, that he didn't indict, but he made everybody sure that they knew what he looked at, what he saw, and let the people judge how they may in the voting when he says somebody was extremely careless. So, and all that. So you can, but all that, the Democrats filtered all that out and they heard, we will not indict. So that's all they needed to know. And that's what they went with. But now, and to me, I thought we were done with Anthony Weiner, but now the kids are laughing every time, and because his name has been, brought up again, and what it is being brought up as is, of course, you've heard that they found emails on Abedine's. Is it? I can't remember how to pronounce her first name. Abedine's. Hillary's top assistant, and she's married to Anthony Weiner, and they found emails on that computer that Anthony Weiner was also using as well, and they were investigating him on his the allegation that he was sexting a girl that was 15 years old. So they were investigating that, and then what they see is the .gov thing come up and wait a minute, and these are emails that had been sent and received from the State Department. Now, the first thing that came out of, I can't think of her first name. How do you pronounce her first name? Adu Almadine, huh? Uma. That's so easy, Cindy. Uma Abedin. That's right, Uma Abedin. Okay, so they. She first said, well, the printer didn't work well at the State Department, so she sent these emails to her house so she could work on them and then have them printed out. That was the first inkling of something that came out of her mouth, or it was her friend said this is what she would do, is that she couldn't use the shaky printer at the State Department, so she'd send them to her computer and then work on them. Well, there was Anthony Weiner working on that same computer, sending out all this stuff. What a mess. What a mess that you not only, as Hillary Clinton herself was so careless with the documents that she was sending, receiving, and all that, but then her first top assistant is sending them to the computer that her husband, who's been caught before, sending pictures of himself, out now is this is on the same computer, and now they're all intertwined, and imagine the poor agents who had to take that laptop and have to go through that with gloves on, and like it makes me ugh. So anyway, so there she is, she's in it, and again, here we go again. But what she's shooting is Comey because he didn't have enough evidence, and he said these may be pertinent to the ongoing investigation in the Clinton Foundation and the missing emails and all that stuff. That was the surmise of it. But there we are sitting, and that's what he says, and then says, but until we can look at them. Well, he was trying to get a warrant so that they could open this up and look at him. And the DOJ was being resistant, did not want him to do this, and was very upset. Well, he got the warrant, and they've been looking into him. But I cannot believe that he would come out and do something like this, hang himself a second time from what everybody else, felt like he did the first time, if he didn't have something. Bob Berry, lieutenant of the Conroe PD here, is sitting across from me, and we're going to be doing the Who Done It series. And he works all about mysteries and all the crime scenes that he's been into, and they have to figure it out by all the clues and all this. Do you feel like that he would come out and say this if he just thought she may had maybe there were duplicate emails, or do you think that he would do that if they got something? There's something there.
Well, first of all, I have to say that I don't get into politics.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do wish that, regardless of which way it goes,
right,
is that it's consistent.
Right.
Because if you're going to do an investigation, do the thorough investigation. Everybody is saying, well, we need to see this information. We want to see it.
Before we vote.
Yeah, before we vote. I understand the political part of it, but at the other side of it is any investigation that we would normally do, we don't give any information until we know exactly what we're doing.
Right.
Until we get down to the end.
But he was obligated by Congress to let them know, to update them. If more information came about, he would do that. That's what he told Congress. So here he has the information, and he thinks if I don't do this, if I don't send this to him, it's going to leak from my FBI agents because they're so mad. And that he sits on this, and then the election happens, and then this comes out, what would happen?
Well, obviously he's between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. Somebody's going to be upset.
Right.
One way or the other.
But the American people, now there's 20 million people who voted already. Mm-hmm. Some states you can go back and change your vote if you want to. But that's few states that allow that. Because that was the first wonder, is like, if this is a big bombshell that's getting ready to happen, all these early voting people have gone out there, and then they hear something like this and they go, no, that's not, I'm not going to vote for that person or whatever. And it could have just as easily been Donald Trump. But she's the one this has been going on. I mean, the Democrats knew she was under investigation. They knew that the FBI was looking at her and had already gone through all this. They knew this foundation was going to be a problem, but they elected her anyway as the nominee. So there you go. You're in it.
Regardless of what happens, it's going to be like a volcano, just waiting.
Oh, brother, yeah.
Waiting to erupt.
Well, that's what I think. They're wanting him to come out and be transparent, and they're wanting him to be, like forthcoming, lay it out all there, so I can hear. We can hear what you said and what you, what went on. We want everything. We want everything out here. And she was doing all that, knowing at the time when she first Hillary started saying, just come forward with everything you have. Lay it out there. Let us know what it is. Which some people said, she could have turned to Uma and said, hey, what's on that server? And let's get all those emails out. Okay, let's just get them all out. And because she could, they were hers. But this has now become such a circus and such a,
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What do you think about the WikiLeaks?
I think they're truthful. I think that if you look at them, you think, how could no one could reconstruct, know the relationships between people and all that, and then rewrite it. I mean, that's what I think that sometimes the Democrats are trying to make us feel. And they always go back to the Russians did it, and they're trying to get Trump elected. So, they distract with that. But I think WikiLeaks is spot on as far as when you read it.
In most investigations, it comes into, okay, here's this document. Where did this document come from?
Right.
And how can they go to court? And I'm playing devil's advocate here, but just because you have a piece of paper there, how do we know who that person was? Officially, it came from that person. How do you know that that's correct?
Well, if they copied the email, wouldn't there be icons or whatever that's on that email that would show that's where it came from and that's what it was sent from? Or isn't there a way to prove that?
Well, theoretically, and I'm going towards the other side on that, saying, well, you don't have any proof where it came from because it was leaked instead of actually having the evidence there to do it.
Well, nobody's saying they didn't say something. Sometimes they'll say, well, I've got to study that more. I really can't remember sending an email like that. I don't think I would ever send an email like that. Well, so that's going to be interesting is, you're right, like how to prove that. But there's so much overwhelming, information coming from all sides. But this isn't the Russians did it. It's the FBI that's doing this. And the FBI that put out papers saying things that you're like, wait a minute, where did that come from? And when we get stuff like that, we got to believe our FBI, but people are just destroying credibility and jerking out from under our feeling of we can at least rely on this. But talking about trying to discover something, we are going to be back with the Whodunit series with Bob Berry laying out a crime scene, and we get to be the detectives. He'll give us the clues, but we got to decide. You're listening to Cindy Cochran Show, Real Reality Radio.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the first daily talk show serving Montgomery County.
Did you know your favorite show on Lone Star Community Radio are on social media? Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, you name it, they're on it. Check out where they are online on irlonestar.com/shows and see which of your favorite hosts are online. Make sure to follow them and see what is in store for the next broadcast. Follow Lone Star Community Radio on Twitter at irlonestar or Facebook with facebook.com/irlonestar.
The Cindy Cochran Show. You ain't heard nothing yet.
And we're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. Thank you so much for listening. And of course, I just kind of ran over the fact that it's Halloween. Yes, it is. It's Halloween. And because Lieutenant Bob Berry is here as an official of the Conroe PD, he has a lot of things you've got to remember about this night. It could be scarier than you think.
There's actually a couple of things going on. Right now, we still have the voting, whether it's downtown or some other place in the county. And so we want to make sure that you are really careful about the way that you drive in through the streets here as they're crossing streets. They're trying to get in line. And the lines here recently have been very long, so be careful with that. Yeah. And then on the other side of it is tonight is the true Halloween night. Right. Now, there's a lot of people that have done stuff over the weekend.
Trunk or treat.
Great. Trick or treating, trunk and treat, and all that kind of stuff. That's great. But there's always somebody that's going to be out there with kids. And so be careful about the kids that are walking through the street. Make sure you see them and be careful with those. It's something that every year we have some type of an issue with that. So just be careful.
Boy, that is so true. And we have so many things and events that happen before Halloween that by the time we get to Halloween, we forget it's Halloween. And the kids have totally overloaded on sugar. And I remember the church had their trunk or treat on Saturday. Sunday, there were a lot of people missing. And he said, I think we may have to rethink how much candy we give out.
Well, and that's true. And I'll tell you, tonight we're going to go to another trunk or treat kind of thing at our church. And,
right.
So we're going tonight.
Well, I wish they did it. So. Yeah, I wish they did the trunk or treats on Halloween night, and then that way it gave the kids to go someplace. But they go all out. They have a jumpy thing. They have face painting. They have all kind of giveaways and stuff. And I got out of my car yesterday morning to go to church, and I stepped down and screamed and jumped back because there were all these black spiders all over the place. I went, what are these? And then the sun hit them just right, so I knew they were plastic. They still were standing there from when they did trunk or treat about a week ago. All this stuff is still on the parking lot. So, but it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna go do it with the grandkids, and we eat, and then we all go out. We try and get them full from eating, and then go out and
it's going to last for another 2 or 3 weeks before they get rid of all that.
And that it make them drink a lot of water. Bob, I got to remind people real quickly that tomorrow it's Bob Smiley. It's going to be Bob Smiley here. He hasn't been here for a while, and a lot of things have been going on. And he's got some dating trivia to talk about. And it's always comical to hear other people's dating problems. I like that. And he's going to be there doing that. And he also is going to comment on the politics stuff. So I'm sure he sees it from a whole different angle than any of us who are normal brains, see it. But he is amazing. He's an international Christian comedian. So don't miss tomorrow with Bob Smiley. Okay. It is Whodunit. And everybody's like, shut up and do Whodunit. Do Whodunit. All right, Bob, this is where he's going to lay out a past crime, and no names, but he's going to tell us what he came upon, and this is what the crime scene looked like, and then we get to ask questions. And if you want to Facebook me, you certainly can. That's what we want you to do. Facebook me, message me on Facebook, The Cindy Cochran Show, and ask me questions that you go like, I know who did it, or ask him if the children are in the will or something like that. So you certainly have an opportunity to do that by messaging me on the Cindy Cochran Show Facebook page. And here we go. Bob, tell us a story.
In the evening, a cloudy night. We have to do something for Halloween.
That's right. We should have some music, something.
No, we actually had a call, and it was from out of state. And they were looking for another family member that they haven't heard from it for several days. Mm. And we found out that with that name and date and all this kind of stuff, we checked all the hospitals and everything. And this person was actually released from the hospital. He had been in there for a few days. He was released, and nobody had talked to him since he got out of the hospital.
Yeah.
He was a traveler.
Mm-hmm.
He had a pickup, and he had one of the slide-in campers that goes in the back of their truck. And so it was a very small place. And so we finally, just so happens, we found his truck in a hospital parking lot.
So the call came from out of town?
Correct.
And did they know he was traveling through here, or?
Yes, they knew he was somewhere in the
this
Conroe
vicinity.
area.
Okay,
yes,
okay, gotcha.
At one of the hospitals was the last time they had heard from him.
Okay.
So we went out. We had officers go out, and we found the truck. And so we couldn't get in there. The door was locked.
Did you look in the windows?
Yeah, actually, you can't see into the windows, and you can see that he had basically living in his truck and in the camper. So he was not in the truck. That we couldn't open the door and everything. And so this family member said, "Well, that's the only place he lives." And so we went ahead and broke into the door.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he was there in his camper on the floor.
On the floor, the front seat floor?
No, in the camper.
In the camper part, he was on the floor.
On the floor.
Was he dead?
He was.
He was dead. Oh, okay. All right. Now we get to find out, like, how did he die?
Well, he overall was okay. He has not been dead very long. I mean, maybe within 24 hours.
Why was he still warm, or how did you know?
No, he wasn't.
Ask that question.
He wasn't warm, and he was not beyond staying in there very long.
Okay.
So we go in and look at it, and he is in there. He's on his back on the floor.
Eyes open or closed?
Eyes were closed, I believe, if I remember right. It's been several years ago.
Okay.
And we saw a gunshot wound to the head.
Where on the head?
I really can't say that.
Okay,
Not
because
yet.
that'll give it away.
Not yet.
Okay. So it was a gunshot wound.
Yes.
Any gun? Any shells? Anything?
Well, there was a casing on the floor. There was no gun.
No gun. The casing.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys had to break in to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So he was. But if there was no gun, and he's laying there on his back, and you find no gun in there, so it had to have been someone else do it, right?
You're asking the questions.
Okay. Do you okay? Yes. Any money found?
No, everything was pretty good.
Oh, so his wallet.
I mean, it was a little. His wallet was still there. It wasn't really neat. It was, kind of cluttered and kind of a hoarder kind of.
Okay, I could relate to that. Doesn't mean it's a criminal. Okay.
Okay. No, just say it.
No. Okay. So it didn't look like it had been disturbed. Somebody had gone in there and threw things around trying to find something.
There was food on the stove.
Oh, that's right. Oh, there was.
Yes, there was.
What was it?
Spaghetti.
There was spaghetti on
the stove.
Okay.
It was not, the burner was not on.
Right.
And, of course, it was cold.
Right.
Wasn't there too long.
Mm-hmm.
So
see, I could have come in and tasted that, and I could have told you exactly how long it had been sitting there.
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
You eat a lot of spaghetti?
Yes. Yes. All the time.
Okay.
Yes.
So the other part of that is the door was locked. But where did the gun go?
Where was the...
You have to have a gun to have the casing and have the bullet hole.
It wasn't laying under him or anything like that.
Nope.
Everything. Was there powder on his hand?
At that point, we did not know.
You didn't know?
Yeah,
okay.
we can actually do a test on that. But,
right. But your assumption is that it had to probably somebody else killed him. They got out, they locked the door, shut the door, and left with the gun.
That was a possibility, yes.
Okay. All right, so go ahead.
He could have shot himself.
Right, but the gun would have been somewhere around there.
One would think.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so where's that? It didn't, like, when somebody shoots themselves, usually their hands are, white knuckled around the
Normally that would look, but there was no gun.
But the casing was there.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't have time to throw it out the window after he shot. No, and y'all had picked him up already, moved him?
Yeah, we had already, the Justice of the Peace was there. We took all the pictures. We did everything needed, and we could not find that gun.
Wow, what happened to the gun? Okay. All right, we've got to go to a break now. When we come back, you got your last chance to put in what you think might have happened and who you think did this or whatever. Okay, we'll be right back. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show for the Who Done It series, Real Reality Radio.
The Cindy Cochran Show, Real Reality Radio.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, and we're looking for more talk shows and volunteer DJs for our music shows. If you're interested in having your own talk show on Lone Star, or always wanted to live out your dream of being a music DJ, contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com/contact us, or call the station at 936-647-5747 for more information.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the first daily talk show serving Montgomery County.
And we're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. Wow. Okay, this is the Who Done It. Every Monday, when it's Monday, it must be the Who Done It Show. And with Lieutenant Bob Berry from the Conroe H.P.D. And normally we have Deanie Harmon with us, who's a 17-year veteran, Narcotics Undercover agent. She's done everything. And but she had to take her daughter to the doctor. And her daughter is blind. And we've talked about that before. And she said, anytime you'd like her to come on, she'll talk about it, and people ask her questions about being blind and all that. And I said, that would be great. So I'm looking forward to that. We got to get that scheduled in and have her do that. But so Bob Berry comes on, and he gives us lays out the crime scene, and then we get to ask questions and just try and figure out who it is. But before we get back to that, I wanted to tell you and remind you again that Bob Smiley's here tomorrow. International Christian comedian. He's so great, so much fun. And so you want to not miss that. And then on Wednesday, we have one of Elvis Presley's former girlfriend. Boy, couldn't get that out. Girlfriend. Mindy Miller will be with me Wednesday, and she is such a delight. She is wonderful. This will be her only, her third interview that she's done, because she did not want to exploit her relationship with Elvis Presley like a lot of the other girlfriends and friends have done. And really, he was upset by a lot of things that before he died about what they said. So she wants to talk to me, but she said, Cindy, I just want to keep it really positive, because there are a lot of wonderful stories about Elvis that, that are good, and that people will have a better feeling than what they read sometimes from his friends. And I said, that's great, Mindy. I want to know about how much did he talk about his mama. And so I have those kind of stories. But she said, well, I'll tell you one thing, though. I went to the funeral, and there were a lot of things that happened behind the scenes of that a lot of people have never heard of, and they didn't report. But I'll be glad to share that with your audience. And I went, yikes, that's a great tease. I said, I will love that if you'll do that. So she listens to the show out in L.A., along with Don Wilson, who is someone that books her for different events and things. And so that's how I got to meet her. But she's great. She's a lot of fun. And she will tell us stuff like, I said, I felt so sorry for Elvis because he never got to go out and, do normal things. Like he'd have to rent the movie theaters and all that. She says, oh, wait a minute. No, when he wanted to be out, he'd go out. He'd go out and get a hamburger. He'd go out and put gas in the car, and he'd ride around. If he wanted to be out, he would be out, and nothing was going to stop him from that. But I said, well, I was glad to find that out. But anyway, she'll be with us Wednesday, and then Thursday we've got the coolest story, and I'm going to wait to tell you about it. But it's so cool about this family on this farm. They raise bees, and have honey, and they're using that money to do something that's just going to be spectacular. You will love this. It's a great story. So that'll be Thursday. Anyway, so let's get back to Who Done It on Halloween. All right. Well, they didn't do it on Halloween, but Who Done It? All right. So what we know, this guy was in the hospital, and he left the hospital, went out to his truck. It had a camper on it, and the family hadn't heard from him for a while. So they had the police. They knew he was in Conroe. So Bob and his group went try to find him. They found the truck. They broke into the truck, and there he was, dead in the back on the floor. He was on his back, and there was a gunshot wound to the head. Right?
Yes.
But you didn't tell me where, because that's
correct.
You wouldn't let me know that. So he holds back some things just to keep it, interesting. So what's going to happen next? All right. So we're trying to find out how this guy died, and there was a casing, but there's no gun. They got the bullet in the head. They got the casing on the floor, but there's no gun. So where is the gun? And was it suicide? Was it murder? And somebody just got out of the truck and they locked the doors or whatever. And now you guys had to break in the window?
We broke in the hasp on the door, the lock on the door.
Oh, okay. Oh, on the
outside.
The camper. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, what will you reveal to me that will help me get closer to this, or our listeners?
He was in bad health.
Okay. Apparently, because he'd been in the hospital.
Yes.
Okay. So, he's in bad health.
Well, okay, but I got a timeout.
Timeout. Okay.
While
right,
you were talking about Deanie the other day,
yeah,
it's not fair when she's here and I'm here with her, because what happens is whoever does the whodunit,
yeah,
the other one is going, okay, well, I already know what this one is. it kills all
That's
the fun
true.
for us to.
It does, and she has to hold back so that she,
both of us do.
Yeah, so that you won't just go ahead and announce who it was.
Yes.
But go ahead.
I will tell you that he was sick, had a long spell of history and going to hospitals and everything. He was pretty much a loner. Mm-hmm. Of course, he was traveling by himself across wherever, ended up here in Conroe. And so, are you ready for the answer now? Or?
Okay. Well, all right. If you tell me where the shot was in the head, I'm gonna know, right? Is that what you tell me? Okay.
Yeah, it'll give it away.
Okay. So it was in the side of the head?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like suicide.
Yes.
Had he been told that he has a life-threatening disease in the hospital, like he only had days to live and he couldn't take it? I'm just trying to be emotional about this.
That's exactly it.
Oh, my. Cindy, you're so good. That's wonderful. Oh, man. Okay.
Okay, but
what
you
happened?
cheated, though. You asked me a question, though, off the air, so I had to give that part
No,
away.
wait. What I cheat? What was the cheat? What made you?
About the time that he was spent in the hospital and the long health issues.
Okay, then when
that
you
he
said
had.
the long health issues, and then that's when I thought, okay, all right. Okay, so that's what happened?
Yeah.
Well, where's the gun, though, still?
Okay. Apparently, he had several bouts of this, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was cancer or whatever it might have been. But when he got out of the hospital, he stayed there a few days. And so he was very
Despondent?
upset.
Yeah.
Yes, despondent.
Mm-hmm.
And so apparently what he did was he took his gun and committed suicide, and the bullet was on the temple on the side of the head.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But where was the gun?
Once we were able to, take care of all of our documentation and everything in there, then he was taken out of the trailer.
Right.
We searched again, and what we found was that under the couch or chair, whatever you want to call it, underneath in there, it's very small. There was a heater vent in the floor, and there was not a grate in it. And so when his hand fell over,
right,
it skidded underneath the couch or the chair, what do you want to call it, and it dropped into the heater vent.
Oh,
and
man.
we had to find it.
So was it below the truck? Did it go below the
it
truck?
just dropped down a couple of inches into there, but you couldn't see it.
No, man.
Down there. And so we got it out, and of course we matched the gun with the casing and everything else. So
fingerprints and
the whole 9 yards.
So he did have you never had to even check to see if there was burn on his hand or anything.
Yes, we eventually did that. The test was taken on it, and it was showing that he had materials on there. When a gun goes off and you're on a pistol or a rifle or whatever, you may not see it,
right?
But there's actually particles that blow back,
right?
And so those materials they make, the gunpowder that goes into the casings, it leaves the residue in the what would you call that? between your thumb and your finger,
right,
and it would splatter back on your hand. You might not even see it, but it's
so
there.
all those potentially going to commit murder, make sure that you wear a glove and something over your shirt so that nothing comes back on you.
And it also does with clothing as well.
And yeah, that's right. So you need to, sometimes I'll watch Forensic Files and stuff, and I go like, if I were really wanting to be a bad person, I watch this and take notes on what the people did dumb. But it seems like everybody does something dumb, right? They and they get so, I guess the word is so prideful that they feel like nobody's going to catch them or anything like that. And then they'll tell somebody because they're so proud of themselves, what they do, what they've done. And so they have to tell someone. Well, that's as bad as emailing it in Hillary Clinton's family. I was like, Donald Trump doesn't email. He does not email. That's why they can't, why a saying has never caught him on anything, because he doesn't email. Now, how smart is that? Is that you think people would figure that out?
But not audio recordings.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to check from now on, like, are you wired? Are you wired? Let me see if you're wired.
We're going to do smoke signals.
Right. Smoke signals. Yeah. Might as well do it like that, because otherwise everybody's going to see it anyway. So why not do that? So everybody, isn't that funny? The way that everybody communicated, and then like up in the hills and in the holler, and that's what they call it, the holler, because they'd holler back and forth at each other. And that everybody was pretty transparent. So you knew what was happening. Yeah, that's right. I think that is hilarious. I think our communication, will come down to, maybe everybody will start wanting to learn sign language again or something, and they will say stuff out loud. Yeah, they could do that, and
they can still video that though.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and one finger out of place, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what you got to be careful about. But Lieutenant Bob, I love our stories. I mean, my imagination is so vivid that as you tell that, I'm there with you. The opening the car door and in the parking lot, and people have come walking around there and watching what y'all are doing. Did you have to put off tape around the car?
It was a small enough area that we didn't have to do that.
Rats. Okay. Well, we're going to a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, Real Reality Radio.
The Cindy Cochran Show. You ain't heard nothing yet.
We're starting to film our talk shows and putting them on YouTube. Your favorite Lone Star Community Radio show can be seen on YouTube under our Lone Star Community Radio channel, and on City of Conroe's Our City TV channel on Suddenlink Channel 12. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see the most recently released videos, and find more information online at irlonestar.com/TV.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the most opinionated talk show on radio.
And we're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. Thank you so much for listening. Man, I got a new mic, and did that take my register down about 2 notches? It sounds like I'm going through puberty again or something. It's on lower or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's on the Who Done It. It's Monday, so it's the Who Done It series.
If that was the case, I'd have black hair.
Yes, right. Yeah, look down. I'm like, wait a minute. No, I'm not. But I'm glad that you've joined us. This is our last segment, and I was asking Bob. I was hoping everybody would finish breakfast before I said this, but it's so sad when something like this happens, and the family is out of town, and they've called checking on why they haven't heard from their loved one. So they find their loved one, and he has committed suicide. And so I said, did you have to call him, or did you have to send somebody from that area? And he said, yeah, it could be done either way, but you've been on this
I've been
side.
on both, and neither one is pleasant, of course.
No.
And we've actually seen to where when you walk up to the steps at the house, and we have the hat on and the uniform on, and we go to notify them.
Sure, they start collapsing before you even open your mouth.
What's going on.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with that as well. And one of the good things that we are doing with the police department, we have chaplains who actually work with us, and so we can actually get them up, and they will actually meet with us and take them out to where this house is, and they will be able to sit with them for a little while to get them to understand what's going on. And so it does work better for us. And so
it's better face to face, right? Instead of doing it on the phone.
Well, you're not face to face, so you don't have that intensity that you would have
right.
in person. But also, it's very cold to call somebody on the phone and tell them that somebody has died.
Well, you know, it's like somebody coming up to your house. It's also, I've gotten the call that came up. It said Houston Police Department, and they were calling to tell me that my dad had died, and I was like, and I just hand the phone to somebody else. But then I remember years later, then I see it says State Trooper, and I'm going, I didn't even want to pick up the phone because I knew that meant something bad, and so finally I said, you have to know. And so I picked it up, and he goes, hi, we were wondering if you'd like to donate to the State Trooper. And I went, I went off on that guy.
Wrong time.
I went, how dare you have an ID come up with that when you're soliciting for funds? I understand that. I think y'all are great. You knew wonderful stuff. But how dare you? I about had a heart attack because I was like, okay, we're real sorry. Forget it. Goodbye. What was your address? We're going to come see you. No, but it was, so you have to be careful about stuff like that. That's terrible. I love you, State Troopers. Let's see, they know where I'm coming from. Very soon, when you drive home, you're going to be able to continue to listen to the station.
And that is great.
And it's 104.5 and 106.1. 104.5 and 106.1. And you have to remember that. And what's so great is how many people that are believing they're going to KRBE, which is 104.1, and they're trying to find it, and they go to this
us.
program. They go to Cindy
great.
Cochran. So maybe we need to start, going, so anyway, Bob, how you? So we do something that would make them think that maybe we're not, we're crazy here. Because if you listen to 104.1 KRBE and their talk show, my kids get so upset. They go, "Will they shut up? I want to hear some music. They just talk all the time." And in the morning, that's what they do. They play one song or so.
We need to do some pranks like they do on the other ones.
Yeah, let's go. Let's call some people and tell them we're State Troopers. No, I think that we ought to do pranks. And in fact, I got Mark Hader thinking that we're going to do pranks. I said, we're going to call this person. He says, you know what? I can't be a part of this. I just can't be a part of this. And he's just trying to tell me, don't even try to do that, Cindy. We're not going to do that. So I'm like, okay. I was just kidding, but he thought, oh, no, wait, we're going to do a prank.
One of the things you were talking about was that you can be outside of your house or outside your phone or your computer or whatever, and now we're out.
Yeah.
And I worked nights the last 3 nights, evenings and nights.
Uh-huh.
And so one of the things that you need to work out on is make sure
yes,
that when you go on the new League Line Road, the extension
right
that goes from 1484 Mike Metter Parkway back over to 75. It's open now.
It's open.
Yes.
Oh, say that again.
The League Line Road between Airport Road or
going
Mike
east.
Metter.
Yeah, yes. If you're going east on
going east, and then from there over back to Highway 75.
That's awesome.
It cuts off a lot of time.
Oh man.
But the speed limit there is 45.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And
nobody's going to pay attention.
Oh, well, when I was working,
I'm sorry.
When I was working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I can tell you that there were people.
You met your budget.
It was well, no, not a budget, but I can tell you now. I just kind of most of them. I mean, instead of 45, I've seen 58, 60, something like that. But I actually had one that was 70.
Well, I was going to say they're pushing the envelope with that guy.
Yes, they are. Yeah. You need to,
just
to
to
be
see,
sure.
just testing it out. 45.
45.
Yikes! I mean, that is forever. forever.
But it's a great road, I can tell you.
That's a long road, too. Yeah.
It's a little over 3 miles.
Yeah. I mean, this is long. I have to go 3 miles, and if you get behind somebody that's dead set on not breaking that speed limit, and you're going like, Cindy, you should have left 30 minutes earlier, it drives you crazy.
Well, 3083 is under construction right now. And so, the Lone Star College, they're at 3083
right.
Airport Road.
Right.
That area there all the way over to Fraser, it's got work on it. Mm-hmm. And so it's slow. Plus, there's a railroad track there.
Right.
And then so everybody else now is going back from League Line and going across and getting to the freeway.
Oh, okay.
So, the traffic's
so they got it just done in time.
Yes.
I still got a call TxDOT.
TxDOT,
yeah. About, I got to complain about something that's so dangerous. And I think it's going to have to take somebody having a head-on collision, and then they'll do something about it. But they've got a lane coming off of a turn that's going down Calvary, that the lane drops off into a humongous ditch that would swallow up an 18-wheeler. But you've got to know that lane doesn't continue. You've got to move over and get into another lane right at the last second. And they don't have any barrier or anything to keep you from going off into the abyss. And so I wanted to talk to him about that. And then I got to talk to him about, they've got this it's ridiculous how far you have to come up to stop, because you can't tell if anybody's coming over this overpass. So you keep inching your way out there, and you just scare the way out of the person that's coming over that hill. They're like, I'm going to hit you. But it's dangerous. And if we see something, we should say something, right, Lieutenant Bob?
That's true.
Okay. So it's just not about terrorists. It's also about things that could kill your neighbors and stuff. So, but anyway, Lieutenant Bob, I love having you on the show. You are so much fun. And I appreciate your superior officer. And make sure you say hi to him.
I wouldn't quite go that far, but... Okay, maybe a little bit.
I'm so happy that he allows you to come up here. And that here's the deal, the great deal. When Bob is here, you can go on Facebook and you can ask some kind of, question about what, if I did this, how much trouble would I get into? Is this really wrong? Is this still a law? And that kind of thing. But he could answer that for you.
I'll make an answer for you.
What? You're not.
Oh no! When they ask a question, I'll make an answer for them. So.
Yeah. He's just like me. You're just like I. I don't know if I'll have an opinion on it.
At least it'll
may
sound
not be
good.
right. Yeah. As long as you sound authoritative and you say it quickly, I think everything goes by. But except for poor Hillary. Guys, this is going to be so much fun because I've got guests every day this week. So I got to figure out how I can work in my ranting and venting about what's going on in the political world.
I want to know how. Now, I understand Bob Smiley.
Right.
I know y'all can get along right that, and it'll work right into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know how you're going to get that with the B people.
No, I have to totally suspend any political talk because he asked me, he says, are we going to be talking politics? I said, no, sir. We're going to talk about what you guys are doing. It's an amazing venture. They are building cabins for children and battered women and children and giving them a place to come, and they're going to teach them how to grow their own food and how to get back up on their feet. It's just an amazing story. You just feel like, I don't do enough. I put some money in the plate at church, but that's not doing enough. These people are really doing stuff. And so remember, tomorrow is Bob Smiley, and you don't want to miss that. If you want a little laugh in your life, you got to come to us, and we'll make it a little lighter, okay? And it's not so heavy with politics, all right? You are listening to the Cindy Cochran Show. We'll be back tomorrow. And remember, it's real, a reality radio.
Thanks for checking out this production on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's radio station. For more information on this show and other shows on Lone Star, check us out online at irlonestar.com. If you're interested in sponsoring a program on Lone Star Community Radio and reaching the local audience of Montgomery County on FM, Internet, and TV media, please call 936-647-5747 or contact us online at irlonestar.com. This recording is a Lone Star Community Radio production, produced by the show host and Dick Schisler of Lone Star Community Radio. Interested in volunteering as a music DJ or starting your own talk show? Contact Dick Schisler at dick@irlonestar.com or by phone at 936-647-5747.